Chin testifying on Resolution 23-201, and he will be followed by Susan Picola Davis.
Chair Lee, Vice Chair Sugimura, council members, good morning, aloha, and salam. My name is Doug Chin. I am an attorney for and a registered lobbyist. I'm testifying on behalf of FALK USA regarding Resolution 23-201. I just also wanted to acknowledge and recognize that with me in the audience in person is Troy Hagan. He's the Chief Commercial Officer for FALK USA and FALK Northwest. And he's the one who submitted written testimony that was part of your packets, hopefully, so you had a chance to be able to review that. Last month, FALK was very humbled and honored when it learned that it had been selected by the Hawaii Department of Health to provide paramedic services to Maui County. We understand now that there is a bid protest that is underway that was filed by the incumbent, and we are respecting that process. We also recognize, obviously, that there's a resolution in front of the council right now, and we respect that and understand that the council will do whatever it feels is the right thing to do with respect to that resolution. All I wanted to say in my testimony this morning was that if the contract goes forward with the State Department of Health and it goes forward with FALK, we just wanted to share two things. The first is that FALK will welcome all members of the union who want to come over. And by union, that means the Maui County Paramedic Association. Of course, that's what we're talking about. Secondly, their seniority will be recognized at the same level. And thirdly, and this is perhaps the most important, it's that if the contract with FALK goes forward, FALK will abide by the current union contract. And in writing all these things, I know you're hearing me as a lawyer. Is he trying to be cute? Is he trying to say something that's parsing something? I'm not. That's not the intention. Anyone who wants to come over, the message is FALK would be honored and delighted to have these heroic people to be part of their team if the contract goes forward. So we just wanted to share that. And then secondly, please know also that if the contract goes forward, then FALK is deeply dedicated to building trust in and becoming part of the community that it serves. And we want to apologize a bit because it's been silent from FALK, partly because of the fact that the bid protest is underway. But if the contract does go forward, FALK really looks forward to being able to meet with all the stakeholders, which includes the council members who hear from your constituents, so that we can be able to provide the best services that we can provide if that happens. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. Thank you.
Members, questions, starting with Pro Tem Kama.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for being here, Mr. Chin.
Thank you.
Could you clarify what you meant by that the employees would be welcome? What does that mean? Does that mean you're going to employ them all? Or
Yes.
does it mean that you're going to just allow them to come and apply?
So what they would do is they would apply, they do a background check, and they submit to a drug test. So all the standard things that they would do, if that goes through, we want them. Okay? We want them to come over.
So would the pay also be the same?
It would be yes, because they would be followed, because FALK would be abiding by the same union contract that currently exists.
And is there any intent on FALK's part to bring in anyone outside of the state of Hawaii or the county of Maui?
I think what FALK is committed to is being fully staffed. So we will do whatever we can to be able to employ anyone who wants to come over, and then we'll need to abide by the contract so that we can be fully staffed. But the intention is to welcome and bring in anyone who wants to come over who's part of the union.
I'm not clear about whether it was yes or no. I mean,
I'm sorry.
Are you going to bring in people from the U.S. continent or no? That was my question.
If they need to. So yes, if they need to, that's the answer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Vice Chair Sugimura.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to see you here this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So we received lots of testimony. So just to clarify, because you're talking about your contract, so Chair, hope you allow this as a clarifying question, because one of the things that was omitted and did not require in the new bid was a advanced life-saving services. And I think that's what all the testimony that we hear, and from our talented AMR, staff, of which I visited them in Kula, that's what we were hearing. The concern was that the level of the services would go down because it wasn't then required by the Department of Health in the bid process.
Thank you, Vice Chair. That might have been what the RFP said. That might have been how the Department of Health characterized it. As far as FALK is concerned, FALK will and is committed to maintaining current staffing levels for all ALS ambulances. So we are not changing the ALS service. In fact, if anything, we're trying to improve it.
So even in words, right? Because we're a body of words, right, and so is Department of Health. So even if in words it did not specify that, FALK is committed to, and you will include that then in your contract.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Member Paulson.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to clarify the part about you're open to bringing people over from AMR or the union.
Yes.
As you must know, there is no responsible bidder ordinance. So I wanted to clarify, you do not have employees in Maui or Kauai at this time.
Correct.
So is this a different situation? Because when ground transportation took over the contract from Roberts for the school buses, our children suffered because CDL drivers did not come over. And our kids were riding to school in the back of trucks for lack of drivers. So how is this different?
And I'm very sorry to hear about the school bus situation. That's not what's going to happen here. There's only a finite number of people in Maui who are licensed, who are equipped and capable of being able to handle these kinds of services. And as we all know, they have ably and competently and professionally provided those services for all these years. They are welcome to come over. FALK needs them to come over. And so it is not going to be the same situation.
And the 10,000 people displaced from the fire, the people you bring from the continent will be competing with them for housing?
I don't know how to answer that. I suppose that they will need to find housing as well, but everybody needs to have housing. Anybody who works here, we wouldn't want them to be flying over here and then just not living here permanently.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Paulton.
Member Kiani Rollins Fernandez.
Mahalo, Chair. I guess this is a question for you, because this resolution was introduced by you. Do you intend to take action on the floor today, or is this something that we would take to committees so that we can have more discussion, perhaps, on this? I don't know.
I'm certainly open to that. Yes.
I don't know if that would be, something that would be beneficial for, all of us as representatives of our community, so that we can ask more than clarifying questions.
When the time comes, yeah, we can discuss referring it to committee.
Mahalo, Chair.
And I do want to recognize that this is first reading. So if it does go to committee, we are happy to show up and answer more questions then. And in fact, perhaps the bid protest process might be a little further along. So then FALK will be able to be even more forthcoming. Right now, we're trying to respect the bid protest process, so that's why I'm here, and that's why we're trying to be clear. But we want to make sure we address the most important issues that I think we're facing your constituents.
Mahalo, Mr. Chin.
Yeah,
Mr. Chin, we only have one vote on resolutions, these types of resolutions. It's different from the city and county.
I apologize. Yeah. Thanks, ma'am.
Because they have 3 readings.
Yeah.
Okay. Member Cook, did you have your hand up? Member Cook.
Thank you, Chair. The Emergency Medical Service RFP is under bid protest, so I feel it's inappropriate for us to interfere with the process. If we approve the resolution, we're asking the state to favor one vendor over another, which contradicts the very reason that there is a procurement process. Our goal is to protect our community and to provide them with the highest level of emergency care services, regardless of the contract awardee. So let the process move forward without any interference or delay. I'm impressed with the testimony. I'm encouraged with the commitment to bring over, accept, and utilize the current workforce. That's my biggest concern. People losing jobs and people needing, we don't need more people coming from the mainland and competing with homes. So that's my comment. And thank you.
I hear you.
Okay, we're going to discuss this later, so anybody have clarifying questions?
Nope.
Okay, Member Sinanci.
Thank you, Chair. Just model, Doug, just
Thanks, sir.
the protest process. I mean, is there a timeline?
We don't know. It's actually the Department of Health decides that timeline. So it's they actually have discretion. So knowing from my state experience, they have a little bit of discretion in terms of how they handle the timeline. We don't communicate with the Department of Health during that time, so we don't know the substance of the bid protest. We just know it's happening. We respect the process.
And it will likely come out and when the contract would be issued.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you,
sir.
Chair. Anyway.
Any more clarifying questions? Member Johnson.
Clarifying question, Chair. Thank you so much. Thank you for your testimony. Are the jobs being provided by FALK, are they union jobs
Yes.
under the same union?
Correct.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Chair.
Any more questions? If not, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Lee. Thank you, council members.